everybody. I'm going to call our Sherwood City Council regular meeting to order on September 2nd, 2025 at 19:01. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everybody. Sylvia, roll call.
Mayor Rosner?
Here.
Council President Young?
Here.
Councilor Browse is absent. Councilor Stante?
Here.
Councilor Mays?
Here.
Councilor Scott?
Here.
Thank you. And Councilor Giles?
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sylvia. Do I have approval of the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the agenda say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say same. Motion passes. Thank you, Council. On the consent agenda tonight, we have two items: approval of the August 5th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes, and item B, Resolution 2025-062, appointing David Du Bois to the Sherwood Police Advisory Board. Did I pronounce that correctly? Okay, great. Do I have a
I move
motion?
consent.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say same. Motion passes. Thank you, Council. All right, citizen comments. Do we have any tonight, Sylvia?
I do not, Mayor.
All right, and just let me double check online here. We don't have anybody online, so we'll go ahead and move right into our public hearing. Sylvia, you want to read us in?
The Sherwood City Council will hold a public hearing this evening to receive testimony on ordinance 2025-004, amending the Sherwood Zoning and Community Development Code to add Chapter 16.81 Annexation Code and amend Chapter 16.72 Procedures for Processing Development Permits. The public hearing this evening will be conducted as follows. Staff will present a staff report. Questions, if any, by the City Council for staff. We will then receive written testimony. We will then close the public hearing. No other testimony will be heard. We will open the public hearing for testimony, and the time will be limited to 4 minutes per person. Any interested person may present testimony. We will then close the public hearing. No other comments will be heard from the public. Final comments by staff, questions of staff, if any, by the council, followed by council discussion. This is the second hearing before the City Council on this item. A decision may be made by the council at the close of this hearing, or the matter may be continued to a time and date certain. If the matter is continued to a date certain, this is the only notice of that date you will receive. If you wish to speak, please fill out a request to speak form and submit it to the city recorder prior to the time the public hearing is open for testimony. The mayor will recognize people who wish to speak, and any comments must be addressed through the mayor. When you come forward, please state your name and place of residence for the record, as this hearing will be recorded.
All right, thank you, Sylvia. All right, so we'll move right into the staff report. Eric, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Rosner, councilors. Just a single slide this evening, just the title showing what ordinance it is tonight. So give a presentation at the last meeting, full staff presentation and took questions. The only amendment that was made to the code was to require Planning Commission to review whether it's a Type 4 quasi-judicial or a Type 5 legislative annexations. Both of those will now go to Planning Commission first with as a recommendation to City Council. So that change was made to the code, but no other changes. So happy to take any questions if you have any.
All right, thank you, Eric. Any questions? Hearing none, we will move right into the public hearing. Again, Sylvia, do we have anyone?
I do not, Mayor.
And I do not see anybody online, so we will close the public hearing.
No, I'm kidding. I do not.
We had a lot of discussion at the first reading. If those watching think we don't have any questions to ask, we asked a lot of questions and had lots of comments at the first reading.
I think it's great.
And
Great code. Fully supportive. I think it really helps provide certainty for everyone, the developer and the community. And it's a living document. It's something you need to tweak it in the future. You tweak it in the future.
Doug?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'd just like to say that, I gave a pretty lengthy speech, I guess, on this at the last council meeting 4 weeks ago. And I think many other councilors also had, I think, some really important things to say. So I would encourage people to go back and watch that testimony. I'm not going to repeat all of it now, but I would just double down and echo everything that we said at that meeting. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to highlight that the purpose of this was to continue to hold within our control as a city, as elected officials, so that the city can grow in a responsible manner versus, sometimes people see all of Sherwood West and they say, oh, we're going to double the size of the city immediately and this and that. And at that discussion, we said we were going to get it a part of the urban growth boundary and then adjust the annexation policy, or add it in this case, so that we could have that kind of more fine-tuned control. And so that is the reason that we're doing this. And I like what Councilor Mays just said about giving some certainty to both developers and the city so that we can all be on the same page on it. And hopefully that encourages development. But I think this was all, again, it feels like we've been talking about it for a couple of years now. And so I'm glad that it's finally getting done.
Thank you. Any other?
I'll add a little bit more to what I said. So having the annexation code and all the years that we put into planning of Sherwood West and trying to get that the best that we can get it according to the concept plan, and with all the changes that keep coming down from the state that keep basically tying our hands from doing that, I think these annexation agreements will allow the city and the developers going into a development both knowing what the outcome is expected and not having any surprises.
Yeah, I agree. I think we said it in the last meeting, and Councilor Mays just mentioned it. This is about creating certainty for both sides. It's about holding to our promise that we made the community when we approved the Sherwood West concept plan, which was the basis for going out and asking Metro for an expansion of our urban growth boundary. Salem, our legislature and our governor have been working hard on preempting a lot of local control, but this is one area where we have a lot of local control. So we've been adamant about making sure we protect that. But this isn't about stopping growth. This isn't about just making the developers do whatever we want. It's really about having certainty in the process. So if a developer wants to bring land into the city, they sit down with us and we come up with an agreement of what it's going to look like, how it's going to complement the rest of the city, and then we move forward with an agreement where we know what the outcomes are going to be. So I think this is a great step forward, and I'm super excited about moving forward with it. Great. Yes.
All right, I'll make a motion.
Sure.
I'd like to read, caption, and adopt ordinance 2025-004, amending the Sherwood Zoning Community Development Code to add chapter 16.81, annexation code, and amend chapter 16.72, procedures for processing development permits.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Sylvia, roll call.
Ordinance 2025-004, amending the Sherwood Zoning and Community Development Code to add Chapter 16.81, Annexation Code, and amending Chapter 16.72, Procedures for Processing Development Permits. Counselor Stankey, how do you vote?
Aye.
Counselor Giles?
Aye.
Counselor Scott?
Aye.
Counselor Mays?
Aye.
Counselor Browse is absent. Council President Young?
Aye.
Mayor Rosner?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Passes. We now have a new ordinance. Thank you, everybody. And with that, we'll move right into the city manager report. Craig.
Evening, Mayor and Council. Just a couple announcements tonight. I just want to let you know Oregon Trail is going to be closed on September 5th for repaving of the trail that goes through there, and then it'll open up on Saturday the 6th. Ped Bridge grand opening is scheduled for September 27th. It's a Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon. I believe it's the meeting site's going to be on the high school side. Kristen, do you have anything to add to that you come up with today?
No, just that we do plan on doing ribbon cutting portion right at 10 and then festivities the rest of the morning.
So more information to come on that. And then we've been working on getting the Sherwood Citizen University going. Kristen and Sylvia has been working on it from the city side, and we're taking applications, and we're hoping to start that October 2nd, be 6 weeks, so it'll be over, about the 6th of November before we get into the holidays. So that's where we're at right now. Any questions for myself or?
Could you give just a short elevator pitch for the Citizens Academy? What is that? Why would somebody want to apply for that?
So really, it's a 6 sessions course designed to engage and inform the community members about local government. So really what goes on there is each department head gets up and talks about their department and what actually transpires each day here with the city. So that's really what goes on in that.
Great.
And it's an overview of local government.
I took it when I first got on council. It was great. Yeah, it was
It's a good way, especially if you're wanting to get on boards and commissions or run for city council. It's a good way to learn how the city operates.
I also took it right before running for city council. I think I was in the first session when at that time, Councilor Kuiper was the one, it was kind of her brainchild, and City Manager Gall got that up and going. But yeah, definitely worth going, and I love how the department's kind of competition, who can have the most fun.
It's kind of like that, yeah. And it actually gets down to the managers. It's just not the directors. Usually each department brings a few people to that night when they present. So, any questions for myself or the staff that's here tonight?
Yes. You have to sit next to you.
Captain, you want to say
I
anything?
don't recognize that replacement for chief today.
Captain Corey Jench with the Sherwood Police Department, just filling in for Chief Ty Hanlon while he's away.
Welcome.
Thank you.
A couple questions. Craig, I'll start with you first. With the pedestrian bridge being open now, many residents have been finding, I would say, excessive debris for what we want walking across that right now with our students. Do you know if there's been formal complaints to the city about that?
Have not received any formal complaints, but I did see what you're talking about on the bridge.
Video of the big
I seen the
magnet
video.
roller.
Somebody went out there,
Yeah.
and that all was relayed to the contractor this morning through our project management team.
Okay, wonderful.
So, yeah.
And then actually, Captain, I'll ask you a question if you don't mind. I've been noticing more e-motorbikes around the city, and can we just reiterate what the law says regarding those?
I don't have the law in front of me, but there's different levels of regarding these e-bikes. If they have pedals, if they don't have pedals, the amount of speed that these bikes can go as well. So I don't have the actual ORS in front of me, but I can get that information to you.
Okay, because the ones without pedals, they should not be on the sidewalks. Is that
Correct.
Okay.
The PD, just for the community, you maybe have seen it, the PD did recently put out on their Facebook page the 3 different categories of the bikes and what they can and can't do.
Correct.
Okay.
So if the community should go take a look at that. It was good information.
Good. Yes, to let everybody know what the rules are.
And on that note, if I have a question, Craig, with the new website, which is, I know it looks really good. I haven't looked around too much, but is there a place where when we post something on social media, we're posting it on our website as well?
Should be, yes.
Awesome.
I don't believe we had that feature on the last website, but we do, yeah.
I will also call out one feature. Oh, should I do it now or when I give my comments?
Your comments.
Okay, never mind. There's a feature about the new website that I really like. Stay tuned.
All right, any other questions for Craig? Welcome to the meeting and congratulations on the promotions.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll be seeing you here occasionally, which is
Yep.
awesome. And I also wanted to welcome our city attorney back, Mr. Ryan Adams. For those of you who don't know, he was deployed for a year as a major in the Army in Kosovo. So thank you for your service, and we are so happy to have you back. So,
Yes.
good.
Here, here.
Awesome. Anything else, Craig? Good.
I don't have anything else, Mayor.
I think we're good. We'll go right into council announcements, and Taylor, you can go first.
Okay, so I love the feature where you can add all of the meetings to your calendar. That was, I feel like it was tailor-made for me. But yeah,
Use the pun.
you can, but you can, I just, if you're interested in something, if you're interested in a particular board, or I don't know the granular level, because I just added all of them, but it seems like you can add them, and hopefully we increase that so that the agendas are published in that same feed, so that people will know when things are coming up, and we can continue to get citizen engagement on that kind of stuff, because knowing when the meetings are is half the battle, and then knowing what they're going to talk about is probably the second half. So I appreciate that feature. I don't actually have any other announcements. We potentially will have a planning meeting here at some point. So we had our last one skip. So anyway, that's all from me.
Awesome. Dan, would you like to go next?
I'm happy to go next, Mayor. Traffic Safety Board met last Thursday, and a couple things to note. I'm still very impressed with the board. The complaints that they get or comments, the discussion that they have is like, it's beyond what I thought was happening with our traffic safety here in Sherwood. I didn't even realize that this board existed, or the committee, and all the stuff that they actually are doing as far as stop signs and traffic calming and whatever tools they have. And then if it's not working, then they escalate it. And with trip counts, speed trailers, officer patrols, to get actual data to know what to do with these intersections or streets, I've been very impressed. They're getting stuff done, which we don't even necessarily realize until we see it on the, like, there's a new stop sign in Old Town now. That,
Might be one of our busiest boards, honestly.
it really is. Yeah, I had no idea. So it's been great. One of the things that was brought up was e-bikes on the bridge. And, I know that we've kind of talked about e-bikes in general for the city, but just something to think about. I'm sure that we'll have to address that at some point.
Bikes and e-bikes.
Yeah.
It might be worth a conversation down the road, because the technology's changing. I was on the bridge the other night, and there were some e-bikes on it moving very fast.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we may need to talk about that and address it.
Yep. And then we got a preview of the Safe Routes to School preliminary findings that we had asked for. We'll be seeing that in 2 weeks at a work session. And so that's exciting that they already have the data for us to start reviewing that for the school zones. Yep, that's all I got.
Awesome, thank you. Mr. Mays.
Thank you, Mayor. Great job to staff, our contractor, the engineers, to open the bridge this last week before school started. A very happy surprise. It's not done. There's still some more efforts, but it's legal to use, and every time I go by, I see a lot of people on that bridge. Yeah, it's the new shiny toy, but it's fantastic. Super excited. Great to have it done and open. So great job. Interesting note, WACA 911, the union and the board agreed on a new labor contract. The positive for all the members. It was right in line with what was budgeted, so no impact on this year's budget because it was already incorporated in it. The Cultural Arts Board met last week. They're going to start working on getting an artist to design a wrap of the toilet on Cannery Plaza. They're reviewing the proposals for the medallions on the bridge, scoring the different proposals, and just planning. They're a very energetic group. I think that's it.
Awesome, thank you. Oh, Doug. Counselor Scott, would you like to go?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Parks Board will normally meets on the first Monday, but obviously that was Labor Day. So they will actually be meeting next Monday the 8th. So I'll be there to report on that. I will say that we did interview candidates for the opening spot on the Parks Board. I think we've come up with a recommendation that didn't quite make the cut for tonight's consent agenda, but hopefully will be on the next one here in 2 weeks. So looking forward to seeing that position filled. I had the privilege of sitting in for Councilor Young at Police Advisory Board a couple of weeks ago, and found that to be a quite interesting, a great experience. Actually, it was quite enlightening. It was a great board. They're very dedicated to what they're doing. They're working on some. I think it's a never-ending, task. Every year they got to review potential policy update changes that kind of come down from like a central agency that kind of manages policy updates, and then the police chief and the board will look at those, and most of them get adopted straight away, but there's some kind of local flair you may add in certain cases. So, but they do a really thorough job of digging into those. So some of those will be coming our way here over the next couple of months as well. And that was good. There was a very robust discussion about the bridge as well. That was fun to be able to sit in on and hopefully answer some questions for the board there. But that was great. That's all I have for today.
Awesome.
Thank you for attending that meeting for me. I, a couple weeks ago, attended and had the privilege of speaking for the dedication of the Mira Bowie Theater. It was very well attended, very well attended. So we all met in the foyer. I spoke, Robin Folsom spoke, Mira's mom, Sky spoke, and then they cut the ribbon and then opened the doors, and everybody walked in the theater where they played a video of Mira. It was really good. I had sat in the day right before I had left on vacation, why everybody's filling in for meetings for me, which is rare, but we interviewed 7 candidates for the one position for the Police Advisory Board, which that's just a tough call because everybody's qualified and everybody's going to do, I just like put names in a hat and draw one, but we were able to land on one, which will be coming our way. Pedestrian bridge update was great. Doug sat in for the Police Advisory Board for me. Taylor sat in for Community Development Policy Advisory Board. And did you tour the Family Promise?
Yeah, it was. I'll just briefly say it was the Family Promise Center that's right off of 99. It's a refurbished hotel that they stripped down to the dirt in some places, and they've made the hotel rooms into essentially small apartments for families, and we got to go through one that wasn't occupied, and they had instead of just kind of working out of crock pots and Instapots and stuff, they have a commercial kitchen now. They can feed everybody much more efficiently and quickly. The numbers that they gave were really very meaningful and impactful as to how they're able to help people. A lot of the people are there just temporarily until they can get their feet under them and things like that. And there was a clothing room we got to go through, and an area where they could do shopping for groceries essentially, and things like that. And so it was really a remarkable facility, and it was mostly, there's a few full-time employees there, but they kept reiterating how good the volunteers are for that and how important it is if you're looking for an opportunity to give back. There's people that work in the kitchen that are volunteers. There's people that work in the daycare play area that are volunteers, and all the other areas. And then there's of course clothing. They said if you're going to donate clothing, give them a call to see what they like. I was surprised to learn the least popular thing to donate for clothing is jeans.
Interesting.
They said that jeans are too personal a fit or something that for teenagers. That was one of the they said it was. So I said, all right, well, we'll do. They just it was one of those things where they just said call and we'll let you know what we need. So
Awesome.
it was great.
Thanks for attending that. was my second meeting as chair that I had already had vacation plans, but our vice chair, Jeanette Shaw from Tigard, stepped in and ran the meeting. I met today with Washington County staff just to do a recap of that meeting before we head into September's meeting. And at that meeting, I believe they also reviewed the new revised policy manual. And then it sounds like there was some discussion on the access and opportunity resolution that the county just passed that affects basically any department who's getting federal grants on how to make sure that their applications and their processes are aligning with that in order to get federal funding coming their way, and there aren't any roadblocks for that. So that sounded like that was a good discussion. That's all I have.
Awesome, thank you. I just got a couple things. As many people know, the legislature's in special session working on a transportation bill right now. It passed out of the House. Now looks like it's going to be later in the month before they vote on it. But the reason that's important to us and why I pay attention to it, and I'm working with my fellow mayors in the metro region on this, is we're trying to make sure we protect the funding that the cities get out of the state highway funds. And in the regular session, there was a last-ditch effort to change that formula and, in effect, reduce the funding that was coming to the cities. That was stopped at this point, so we continue to advocate for cities that those state highway funds, some of that does have to come to cities because we have to maintain our roads too, and I would argue that cities probably have the majority of the road miles in the state if you were to add it all up. So this last couple of weeks, been focused on that with the Metro Mayors Consortium and managing that conversation down in Salem. Our two legislators, Courtney Neron and Representative Sue Reiki, have been great on that. They've been very responsive in protecting cities' rights and preventing preemption. So I just wanted to call that out too. They've been great partners on that as we work through that. So we will know more. It sounds, last I heard, they're going to be going to another meeting on the 17th, but don't quote me on that. So
Are they working hard to protect our citizens' pocketbooks as well?
I hope so. I will say, there's a lot of, just to your point, there's a lot of, city budgets are tight, county budgets are tight, state government budgets are tight. They're looking at a couple $1 billion shortfall just on the Medicare side. And so a lot of people are having conversations about raising fees, raising taxes. I encourage everyone listening, we also need to be talking about how we spend our money more efficiently. That's an important part of this. So, and those conversations are going on in Salem in terms of ODOT. Part of the bill is an extensive audit of ODOT, how they do their operations, looking for waste, etc.
Are they also looking at existing law that forces them to do things certain ways?
We'll see. We'll see. We've talked about that, but yeah.
Seems to me an audit should take place before you ask your citizens for more money.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, although I was at the end of legislative session report by Bowman, Representative Bowman, and our two representatives, and they did mention, they said, well, all of this gas tax and different things were designed before the miles per gallons went up and before electric cars were really a thing, and so the way we're getting less revenue for the same or more amount of driving, right? And so it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, when you don't have a sales tax and you are collecting revenue based on gas, something's got to change. And so because the cars are only getting more efficient, you never hear somebody say, oh, I hope we can go back to 8 miles a gallon, or but that's
there's some truth to that. But gas tax revenue on the net has gone up every year, and I think a key issue is electric vehicles are not paying their fair share right now.
Mm-hmm.
There is a vehicle miles tax that's going to be phased in with this current bill. I'm not necessarily advocating for it, but what I'm advocating for is protecting the revenue streams that we already have.
Yeah.
And then we need to talk about efficiency in operations. To the Councilor May's point, anytime ODOT gets involved in the project, it gets a lot more expensive. And that's something we need to look at as well, and making sure. It's one of the reasons our bridge was designed the way it was designed, where we dropped it in over the ODOT right-of-way, so we didn't have to touch the ODOT right-of-way, because if we'd have touched the ODOT right-of-way, we would have probably added 30% to the cost of that bridge instantly. So we specifically designed it as a large span to get over that right-of-way, so we could avoid that. So, but yeah, so that's a lot of conversation happening in Salem right now. So we will see where that goes. And I was at just some quick things. I was at the Oregon Mayors Association, their annual conference out in Baker. Just a side note, first time I've been to Baker and actually been in their downtown. It is a beautiful little downtown with amazing shops and brew pubs and
all their
bakeries.
public art down there?
Their public art, they are doing an amazing job out there. And if you're out that side of the state, I encourage you to drive a mile or two off the interstate and have lunch there. You won't regret it. Just a reminder for council, the League of Oregon Cities Conference is coming up the beginning of October. It's going to be held in Portland, so it's a great opportunity to attend. You don't have to travel. And it's our 100th anniversary, so there's going to be some good programming there. So I'm looking forward to that. So with that, I don't have anything else unless anybody else has anything for the good of the order. All right, well, with that, we will adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everybody.